Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Lights, camera, action. Welcome to the Director's Cut right here on the Fanatics Network. As you guys can see down below is all of our links. We have the fanent.com website. We got the YouTube channel, which is the FanEnt, where you guys are watching me right now. Um, we have the Instagram right there. FanEnt. Check us out there. We have the Fanatics ENT on Facebook. Right over there, you can find me at the Director's Cut TFN on Twitter, and we had the Fan ENT on Twitch. I forgot what that logo was there for a moment. But today we're going to deep dive into a movie franchise that was 8 years for this part to come out. Made $8.6 million this opening weekend. Is that a sign of that this movie is not good? Is that a sign of that this movie is not necessarily for everyone? Or was it just a bad weekend at the box office? So go dive into that. I mean, it shouldn't be a bad weekend at the box. Last weekend should be the bad weekend at the box office. I mean, nothing broke $10 million. But this was the only new movie out. Everything else has been out for a little bit of time. It's the only one that hasn't been that is brand new out, and it's just made 8.6 million on a budget of like $178 million. Yeah, it doesn't look good for it to build that money back up after an opening weekend like that. But before I get into that, let's check out the chat. Let's see. What's good, G? Thanks, Dylan. You guys can check out Dylan at Don't Feel Advantage, and as well as all Saints coverage right here on the Fanatics Network, guys. Great stuff. My boy Streets, Rose Slappers, all fantasy football content. This man's your hookup for it. I'm 2-1 in our Fanatics Network league. Well, the second part of our Fanatics Network league. We have two leagues going. In the one I'm in, I'm 2-1. I owe it to Streets and Matty Daddy and the guys at Roto Snipers for that. And we have Nick from the Universal Wrestling Podcast showing up. What's good, my brother? Thank you, Nick. You're awesome as well. So we're talking, as you guys can see, right over here. Oh, look how pretty that looks. Ooh. We're talking Expendables 4. Or is it Expendables? Which four bulls am I expending? Well, which four bulls am I getting rid of? Because they're expendable. Yeah, see what I did there? But anyways, let's get into this review. You guys are probably wondering. Oh, before I do that, you guys are probably wondering why I'm here half an hour early. Well, because yours truly, right there, Greydon, I got a meeting for work at 9 Eastern time. So me doing this at 8:30, trying to get done by 9 because I usually do a half an hour, wasn't going to work. So we decided to move it up a half an hour for that reason, and I hope you all enjoy this. Let's do this. Besides the colorful poster right there, you can see that we have the list of people there. We got 50 Cent, we got Megan Fox, we got Dolph Lundgren, we got Tony Jaa, which is awesome. We got Iko Uwais, we got Ray Couture, Andy Garcia, Sylvester Stallone, who's not really in this movie much, and Jason Statham. Just a little backstory on this one before I begin. This movie was actually supposed to be a spin-off, believe it or not, for Jason Statham's character, Lee Christmas. That's right. It was supposed to be called A Christmas Story, and I'm not making that up. That was the working title. It was A Christmas Story. I'm going, I see what you guys did there. I see what you guys did there. But anyways, it was supposed to be a spin-off movie for that, kind of like how Hobbs and Shaw was a spin-off of Fast and Furious franchise. Oh, there's a lot to cover, so let's get into it. My notes are right over here, so if you see me looking off the screen, that's why I'm looking off the screen. Okay, Expendables 4. The plot line is they're chasing this nuclear arms dealer. I mean, honestly, it's stuff like that is what action movies are made from. Oh, you have a good guy, you have a bad guy, and they're trying to end the world and by explosions. So you're going to try and finish them off with explosions as well. So, yeah. So that's the 9 years that passed between the Expendables 3 and Expendables. Hollywood and its internal counterparts have generated some of the best action films and TV shows since the 80s and 90s heyday, celebrated by Barney Ross or Sylvester Stallone in this franchise. His team of seasoned mercenaries. We've had John Wick, we've had Mad Max Fury Road, we have the Wu Assassins, so just to name a few. Yeah, Wu Assassins star Iko Uwais. I'm probably going Iko Uwais, which is right there. I might butcher that name, so bear with me. It's nothing approaching the visceral brawling of a 10-episode Netflix showcase in Expendables 4. The sequel is also frustrating and fearlessly squanders Barney and company's return to their R-rated roots. Yes, we've had R-rated roots right here, right now. This is back to R-rated. 3 was PG-13, but put it this way, 3 was good. It was still good. We still had a bunch of action stars that people cared about at that time. See, when this movie first began, when this series first began, we had Sylvester Stallone, we had Dolph Lundgren, we had Jason Statham, we had a bunch of 80s and 90s action stars come together for this movie. In 2 and 3, we had Bruce Willis join the cast. We had Chuck Norris. We had Arnold Schwarzenegger. We had Jean-Claude Van Damme. We had all these guys. We had Terry Crews join the cast. Jason Statham, joined the cast of this movie franchise and became a great franchise. A great couple movies there between 1 and 3. If 4 was supposed to happen, it should have been done shortly after 3, not 8 years later. But I digress. Let's get into it a little bit more. This 4th entry of the franchise puts the Expendables on a mission to stop a terrorist organization led by Was's Serato Ramat, which is smuggling nuclear warheads that could start a war between the United States and Russia. Sound familiar? Most action movies in the 90s were, hey, it's a nuclear arms race. So, obviously, a 90s action star, so it's going to be a little bit of that same type of thing. On top of that, there's a mole in their midst. There's a mole in this group right here. And a faceless nemesis of Barney's known by the codename Ocelot may be pulling nefarious strings behind it all. And I'm not going to tell you who that is. I want you guys to be a little surprised if you guys go see it for that. But there's a little more to the story than this. There's more than enough to know going in. But that's more than enough to know before you guys go in. Nobody sees these movies for their intricate plot points, right? No, they just watch it for the high explosions. Oh, and all that fun stuff. The Michael Bay explosions, That's all people come to really action stars. You see them fight, you see guns, you see explosions. That's pretty much an action movie now. And that's usually what it is. The Expendables are still Barney's crew. For the first time in the franchise, Stallone gets second billing behind Jason Statham, returning as Lee Christmas. Of all the times to get a promotion, this isn't the best one. Jason Statham tops the cast. That no disrespect to 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson, Megan Fox, or Andy Garcia, there aren't exactly the shoot 'em up tie-ins of the first 3 films. Expendables 4 wastes the throwback talent it does have, doing a disservice to their contributions to the genre. Gunnar Jensen, or Dolph Lundgren, is depicted living a sober and centered life in all the movies before he was drunk. And it just made for some hilarity in these movies. But at one point falls off the wagon in order to take a stiff drink. Watching Expendables 4 is almost impossible not to follow his example. Yeah. From the get-go, it's clear that the bar is set really low. But Expendables 4 looks and feels so cheap and inauthentic that it doesn't so much take me out of the movie as it virtually pushed me out. Whether it's a green screened or created on a dime store version of After Effects, so much of what's in the Final Cut looks fake and or staging. What I mean by that is, think about all the latest Marvel movies out there, how they just don't feel real anymore because they're in front of a green screen. That's how this feels. To me, that's how this movie felt. Kind of like green screen. Yeah, I know some of the fights with some of these guys because they're Sylvester in his 80s. Dolph Lundgren's pushing up there. I mean, those guys are. Andy Garcia is pushing up there too. I know some of these guys can't fight like they used to, or do or do stunts like they used to, but it's just bad with those ones. At least those guys there, it's just bad. They should have just not had him fight. They should just had him just use what they do best. Just be Rambo. Sylvester Stallone should have just been Rambo in this movie with guns and knives and just did it that way. And that's before you get to the special effects, which look either unfinished or just bad, so bad that it's sad. Okay, explode. I don't know. Let's get into some of what this is. Exploding heads and blood spatter look like they were ripped out of the graphics package of a mid to low budget video game from the early 2000s. So what I mean by this is we thought Flash's graphics were bad. Some of the stuff in here, like the explosions, just seem like they're After Effects packages. Seems like they're just put in there just to be put in there. That their practicality of some of these effects have gone by the wayside, which now in movies and TV is an art form. It's a lost art form because, oh, why should we spend money blowing up a car? We can make when we could blow up a car digitally. It's not the same. Like seriously, when people actors have been on sets and there's multiple interviews from different people on this, when that car first explodes and they're not expecting it, oh, and they actually did a practical effect, it startled them. They go, that reaction they got on film was an original reaction, was a priceless reaction, and you can't get that through a green screen or through CGI. It's like even the best actors through green screen and CGI are not the best actors. Robert Downey Jr. said he hated working on green screen because it didn't felt real. You had to look somewhere and pretend you're talking to this little floating tennis ball because that's where Ultron should have been, or Thanos because they were so much taller. He didn't like that because you don't get that work, that expressionism. You don't get the feeling of being there. All right. The slow ensemble walks to the camera, like they always do. You walk in, everything explodes behind you. Yeah, couldn't look less realistic and janky if it were shot on a photo experience in a suburban mall. Yeah, it's the special effects are not good in this movie. The clunky, uninspired dialogue, as awful as it largely is delivered with an conviction of enthusiasm of a damn towel. And I'm giving a damn towel of credit here. The actors often look almost embarrassed to say the lines they've been given, which is weird because early on in the first three films, you could tell that these guys were having fun. These movies were fun. They were enjoying their times together. They were enjoying filming this movie. In this one, it just doesn't feel that way. I don't know what it was. Was it the fact that it was 8 years after the fact of the first three? And then that's 8 years of Sylvester Stallone growing older. 8 years of the entire cast growing older. Or is it that it's a movie that no one asked for, that actually had a different story arc, a different plot, but there's like, it's not gonna work. Let's just make it Expendables. Could that be it? That could very well be it as well too. So, I mean, I honestly don't know. I don't know why this movie was made. I don't know why it's performing poorly at cinemas. I kind of figure, but I'll get to that in a moment. Um, there's this one scene where there's a sex toy there because Megan Fox is in here. Glimpsed on a bar shelf in one scene delivers more animated performance than some of the big names assembled here. While there has always been cheesiness to the franchise's scripting, past casts seem to have embraced it and almost revel in it. Like when they do stuff like they mention previous movies that these guys are in, you just see him smirk and it's like, yeah. Or some of the cheesiness that he's like, yo, look, I'm walking out of this fire alive, not burnt. Like 90s action stars, 90s action movies. You see? They almost reveled in it. They're like, this is fun. Let's do this. And now it's just like, And I think that has something to do with the green screen effect. Like the green screen, you can't, like I said earlier, can't immerse yourself into a movie if you're an actor in front of a green screen. It's hard to. So that could very well be why they seemed off, why they seemed off-putting on this movie. There- There's there's not even much of the knowing, self-deprecating snark that made the previous entries appealing. There's not just slice previous on-screen action endeavors though, such as Barnum's history of thumb wrestling, rather than arm wrestling like Sylvester Stallone did it over the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare thumb war. Ooh, okay. And you're a leader for Expendables because you won a thumb because you're a thumb wrestling champion. Okay. Prompting Lee Christmas, Jason Statham, to call him Thumbo instead of Rambo. He's Thumbo. But it lands as weakly as it's delivered. A run of half-hearted gags about toll roads or Randy Couture's wrestling-related ear injury, which is a real injury he had, and a wig that Jensen dons runs out of steam almost as quickly as it starts. Yeah, Jensen, that wig wasn't even smart, and it was like, woo, yeah. It's kind of trying to be something it wasn't at one point in time. Oh, let's put in these references. Let's put in this a little bit of humor that didn't make any sense at the times these movies were in it, that were in it, and that well, what am I trying to say? It doesn't make sense that these things were in that movie, or it just seemed like it shouldn't have been in there, or it didn't fit. It just seemed like they tried. That's it. They tried too hard. The popularity of the experimental movies, as much as they do with the banter and action, as the names on the posters, and what, as you can see right over there, look at those names. And what's in display in Expendables 4 plays like a stunt show at an underfunded theme park. You know, like the Indiana Jones experience, and it's like, oh, it's just a guy running it. It doesn't have the same oomph as like an Indiana Jones experience or the Star Wars thing. It doesn't have the same oomph as you see it on the big screen. Either the execution is weak, the effects are shoddy, or the editing misses its mark. And it could be a combination of all three of those things, like I've been saying all along. It could be a combination of all three of those. Wildly swinging between messy to the point of confusion or sloppy to the degree that looks barely convincing. All too frequently, the kicks punches land as poorly as the jokes. At least wrestlers make their punches look real. Yeah, there's people out there that throw punches for a living. They can make them look real. These ones just didn't seem to land. It's like they purposely stop like this. And the guy's like, oh, I have to react. Oh, like that. It's like, it just, it was shoddy at best. Like the way it was do that stunts. It's like the stunt coordinator didn't care. Um, where am I? Oh, right here. When the any of the elements hit their target and give the audience hope for things improving, those hopes are quickly dashed. Even the props, like the detonator that looks like an inhaler, infused to a Happy Meal toy. The detonator for this nuclear looks like a Happy Meal toy with an inhaler attached. I understand that a lot of props in movies are based off of stuff like that. Like the most of the guns in sci-fi movies are Nerf guns, just redone that way. Water guns, like super soakers, stuff like that. So they use props like that, but they change them up. But this one looks like a Happy Meal toy with an inhaler attached. It's shot. It looks like I put together an inhaler and a Happy Meal toy to go shoot a movie in my backyard with my iPhone. So that's what it seems like to me. And the bomb that resembles a fan-made replica comes across as cheap knockoffs. If this was a big budget movie like they wanted it to be, then it should be big budget props. If you're going to have something that close to the screen, make it look real, make it look convincing. Even if it's just something as simple as, hey, look, it's a little toothpaste holder that we painted black that makes it look real. Make it look real, folks. Expendables 4 is a crushing disappointment that lacks any of the nostalgia, charisma, and charm that made this franchise appealing in the first place. Perhaps worst of all, its failed mission is this failed mission is boring. There's no pleasure taken in saying that this once highly entertaining action franchise is well past its AARP prime. It would have been great to have rounded off the series with a fifth entry, but after this flat, uninspired effort and an $8.6 million opening weekend, the franchise doesn't deserve that last hurrah. And in some ways, in my opinion, that is sad. We don't get to a fifth chapter in this. We don't get a fifth chapter, and I because of horrible movies like this. Oh, so it comes to that point of the night. You guys probably already know what my verdict is on this, what I'm rating this, but it's that time of the night. I have to do it. So, is it too sweet? It can't be beat. Is it too sour? Don't even bother. I mean, I'm a fan of the first three. I think number two's the best of the franchise. Like I said, you have Jean Claude Van Damme, you have Ron Schwarzenegger, you have Bruce Willis, and you have Sylvester Stallone all together in one movie. That's fantastic. And when you bring in Chuck Norris, you should have ended it there. The only ones missing from this are Jackie Chan and Steven Seagal. But Steven Seagal doesn't really act anymore, and Jackie Chan turned him down. Why? I mean, Tony Jaa is great as a modern day action star. He's phenomenal. Like you could have had him. You could have had what's his face? Oh, John Bernthal. You could have had him too. You could have had some of these guys who are more modern day action stars come in here, and you could have kind of spawn this movie off a little bit differently. But it just felt like underwhelming for the star power that was here. It did, and I'm gonna give it a two sour. Don't even bother. As much as I like the other three, that hurts right there. It hurts. It hurts. Let's hit it. Boom. It's just too sour, guys. It's just too sour. If you like action movies, check it out. Honestly, this is one man's opinion right here. So, like I always say, check out these movies for yourself. My opinion might differ than your opinion. And if that does, comment down below. If you actually enjoyed this movie, comment down below and tell me that I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me, hey, like I like it. I like talking movies. So tell me I'm wrong and tell me a specific reason why you like this movie. If you thought this actually hurt the franchise from doing a fifth one, or if you think it's just a regular run of the mill action movie. I just if you enjoyed it, comment down below. If you hated it, comment down below. Just comment down below, folks. And remember, find everything we do on the Fanatics Network right down there below. Right down there, the Fanatics Network, all the stuff right down there below. Even in our description, you guys can even find my social media. Hey, that's the Bin Buster. I talk movies on my channel all the time. On my own personal channel. You guys can check me out there. We talk movies. I like talking movies. I like talking sports. I like talking wrestling. That's why I'm part of the Fanatics Network, your hub for all your fandoms. But thanks for watching and diving deep with me. As well as everything, like I said, all the social stuff is down below. And remember, if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumb, hit the bell notification for whenever we release a video. And we do that daily, folks. We do it daily. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope you guys go see this movie next week. It starts in October. It's the first one in October, so you know what that means. Spooky time. That's right. Is it really the holiday? Is it really the spooky season without pumpkin at Starbucks? Is it really? Streets, I know you're listening. I know you're watching. Yes. Is it really the season for spooky without pumpkin at Starbucks? I think not. So, comment down below. Am I wrong for saying that? And with no pumpkin there, it doesn't exist. But next week, it's start of spooky season as I go and I play the game. That's right. I'm talking Saw X. Saw 10. That's right. I get to talk about that, and I'm kind of looking forward to watching it. Seems like it's going back to its roots and everything, but I'll leave that for the next one. Until next time, remember there's more to movies than what we see on the screen. I'm Greydon, and I'll be your guide through the films and their history, right here on the Fanatics Network, and right here on the Director's Cut. I got another comment. Let's see. Hey, Greg, looking forward to this movie. Kayla, and when you go see it, let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what you thought. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. So let me know. So let me know what you thought about that. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I will see